Hello, everybody. Suzanne Kellner-Zinck, Donning Vision's Hypnosis, here to talk to you about what you do when you're working with people who are way too hard on themselves. I just had a session with one of my favorite clients ever. He's 86 years old. He's retired from teaching and is doing his own thing right now, which I think is really amazing. He's teaching people how to go, he's teaching them the importance of sharing the family history with their kids and grandkids. Because too often we don't know anything about our past family. And I know that was true in my family where my dad was concerned because he never talked about his childhood. He didn't have a happy childhood. He lost his dad when he was 12, and he and his two older sisters and mom lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, and he basically lived in poverty from that point forward until he was able to get out of dental school, and took years and years to build his practice. In those days, he couldn't advertise. It was all on referrals. So it took some time, and he was very successful at what he did. But we never knew anything about his childhood, really, because he never would talk about it. So I really love this idea that he has of going into senior citizens, residents, and sharing what he knows about the importance of this particular topic, and then he wants to coach them on how to go about doing it so they too can leave a legacy for their kids and grandkids. But he's really too hard on himself. He thinks he should be doing more. I want you guys to know that when he first started work with me a few months ago, he had just coming out of being in the hospital for a while. He had to have an operation, then he had to rehab himself. So he had to cancel speaking gigs that he had already set up, and he felt really guilty about that. So the first thing I told him was, why would you feel guilty about canceling speaking gigs that you can't do because you had a surgical procedure done? That's ridiculous. How about you get on the phone and you call these people and let them know that you're back in business, you're all healed, and you're ready to go. And he did that immediately, and he got himself quite a few speaking gigs, especially with the one place that really loved him. For 3 months in a row, he has gigs to speak for their people. He's gone on podcast. He made himself a one-sheet on Canva that explains the services and what they'll get and the cost and all that stuff. He's amazing in so many ways. And yet he gets on himself for having a hard time financially. Well, this is my story. A lot of people are having a hard time financially, including myself, because the economy sucks. It's a bottom line. How many thousands of people are being laid off every day in America? Too many to count, sadly. And there's many reasons for that. And I just heard a thing on the YouTube about the Fed and how they are in a very hard situation right now because they never took care of the situation from 2008, never mind COVID crap. So it's a problem, and it's coming through the economy. And anyone who says differently is living in a fantasy world as far as I'm concerned. These are the realities. We hear about it every day if you're actually listening to the people who know what's going on in the economy. So I just gave him some love and care, gave him a reality check, and let him know that he's doing what he needs to be doing. He needs to be really happy with himself for all the things that he's been doing to get himself work. And it may take some time. And that's the way it is in this life. I also had a conversation with someone in a mastermind. There were only 2 of us there today, but it was perfect for me, actually, because I was able to vent about a situation that I was dealing with yesterday and ask for some ideas on how I could get some more work coming in from people on Facebook. She gave me ideas. She might have a person who can help me get some research funding, or at least find people who may be able to help me with that for my doctoral program research and things of this nature, because none of us do anything in this life of any value on our own. We have to have help. Everybody needs help in different ways from different people over time. It is the way it is. Anyone who thinks that Anyone who's done anything of any value has done it all on their own is mistaken. There's a lot of people behind the scenes to make it happen. And that's reality. So I'm here to let those of you who are putting the effort in and aren't getting the results that you'd like to see a reality check. For those of you who know you're not doing a goddamn thing to help yourself, that's a whole nother story. And that's what I was complaining about in the mastermind. I went on Threads a few days ago in the last few days, and I've explained to folks on there who are complaining endlessly about some aspect of their personal lives, sometimes professional lives, but usually personal lives. They're so anxiety ridden, they're so depressed, they're unable to do the things that they need to do. They don't like their lives for whatever reason. And explain to them that I've helped people just like them for 25 years. And to schedule a free consultation because we have to know if we're a good match and if they fit my scope of care, because I work with only certain types of people. Mainly people who have emotional problems that have not been helped by any of the conventional, shall we say, state licensed mental health providers to date, and those who are ready to heal now. I'm not interested in their whining and crying. I don't care. They get to tell me their story exactly once during the detailed personal history. From there, I create a treatment plan. And in that treatment plan, I know exactly what I need to do with each of these clients. And at the beginning of each session, sessions last about 2.5 to 3 hours. We're starting because we're clearing up all the negative stuff in their lives, all their emotional traumas, doing the forgiveness work, doing the appreciation work, doing the inner child work, all that stuff gets done in the very beginning. And then we may meet every week for a little while, depending on what it is that they want to put into their future, the lives they want to live versus the lives they were told they could never live if they were given a DSM diagnosis by some state licensed mental health provider who, knows best. Not as far as I'm concerned. Because in 25 years, I've been able to help quite a few people overcome intractable depression, anorexia, bulimia, sexual compulsions. The clients call it sexual addiction, but they don't have that as a label in the DSM to date. Lots of kids with depression and anxiety so bad that they got depressed. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And the bottom line is that people can be healed of these things if they choose to invest the time and the money with someone who actually has a track record proven to be able to help them. And over 25 years, there's plenty of track record in the testimonials where I tell my clients to tell their stories from the perspective of what their life was like before they came in to see me, what a pain in the ass I was, holding them accountable to do what they needed to do in order to heal, and sometimes getting upset with me, which is okay because I tell them in their free consult that might happen. It's part of the process. And what their lives are like after the fact. And I have some clients who have 3 and even 4 updated testimonials over the last 20 years or so, because I invite them to keep in touch with me because I want to know how they're doing. What a concept to actually give a damn about your clients after the time when they're done working with you. Isn't that amazing? And, frankly, when I take on clients, it's because I like them, I see something in them, and I want to work with them. And that's what you have to know, that someone is willing to hold a space for you to actually heal and move on in your life and get beyond the negative, I don't know, symptoms is what I call them. The negative feelings, all the anger and resentment, all the limiting beliefs holding people back from doing the things that they really truly want to do but can't get themselves to do because they don't believe that they're able to do it, or they have a fear of success, fear of failure, fear of whatever. All these things come into play. And for many of them, when they do see this psychiatrist, psychologist, they're told that they can manage their symptoms and nothing more than that, which is a bunch of bullshit. Again, after 25 years of helping people to get beyond their negative symptoms and actually having lives that are more than worth living, I can tell you for a fact that there's probably about 5% of the people who really can't be healed. And those are the people with full-blown personality disorders. And I certainly can't help anyone with psychotic events, decrease the number of psychotic events. But I have helped a few people who experience psychotic events actually overcome other issues. One was a sexual compulsive, and one had a problem with marijuana abuse in particular. And actually, the first one, I didn't even know he had the problem when he signed up to work with me. I found out afterwards when he gave me an update on what was going on with him. And the second one I did. Well, I got to say goodbye because I have a call coming in. So I hope you got something out of this. Thank you. And I look forward to talking to you again soon.